Greetings, everybody. It is Ice King, and today we'll be talking about Dead by Daylight, my thoughts and opinion on the game, and the transition from where it started to where it is now. Currently, as of this video, this will be posted a little bit after the Year 9 event, so the Year 9 Masquerade event, different to the before events of the yearly events. So, without further ado, let's begin. Say hi to Mel, everybody. So, Dead by Daylight released in 2016 and was the first asymmetrical horror game of its time. Now, as years progressed and Dead by Daylight grew in more popularity, it grew with the licensing of other killers like Michael Myers and Ghostface, not the one from Scream, but they got their licensing to The Mask, and Pig from the Saw series, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And seeing the success of playing as some of the most iconic horror characters, it spawned in asymmetrical horror game clones. Most notably being Friday the 13th, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, and Ash vs. Evil Dead. And this was honestly freaking amazing for especially horror fans who loved these genres. You could play as your favorite survivor, you could play as your favorite killer, or you could play as the original from the games, and Behavior has always hit it a home run with these. Some of the lore for these original killers go insane. So, naturally, they host a yearly event. I personally didn't play year 1, 2, 3. I joined about the time when the Oni was the newest killer and when Deathslinger was just introduced. So that was about year 4, so I was there for the year 4 event. That was before that was when they had the old Prestige system, the really clunky Blood Web, and when Dead Hard was the meta perk and everyone he had to use it. I was there for that, and this was also during a time when COVID was, rampant, so I had nothing better to do but to play Dead by Daylight with my homies. Most notoriously, a lot of you might know him as Cheesy McPuffy, also known as Tyler. And he introduced me to the killers, the survivors. He also introduced me how to loop and was really interested in looping. He also has his opinions, which differ to mine. He absolutely despises the Trapper. I kind of think the Trapper is a little underpowered compared to the rest of the killers, but I can see why people find him annoying. So, throughout the years of Dead by Daylight, me and him had ups and downs. This was the first year where I actually never played a single game with him at all. Life happens, life gets busy. So I picked up the game because, one, they acquired probably the coolest IP to ever be introduced, and that is Springtrap, which is probably the most beloved and most requested behind Jason from Friday the 13th. So, that, and then obviously next season, they're introducing the fucking Walking Dead. Rick Grimes and Michonne, and then skins to be Daryl Dixon. Oh, it's I could have not picked a better time to come back to playing Dead by Daylight. So, honestly, playing the Year 9 event, I've been having a lot of fun. I've been trying to grind the characters out so that I can get all the teachables and obviously get every single character's bloody outfit. I know it's kind of a weird thing for me to want, kind of going in chronological order of getting every single character to 6 before moving on to the next, but you're not my dad. I'm playing the game how I want to play it. So, with the success of Dead by Daylight for a strong 9 years, holy shit, I am old. The 10-year event is inevitably coming next year. So, I think would be a perfect time to look back at Dead by Daylight, see why I love it, explain why I love it, and all the good things that it has done, and to explore to what a year 10 event would look like, because I have my ideas, but we all probably know that it's going to be a year 10 Masquerade. It's going to be the biggest Masquerade. It's going to be the biggest event of Dead by Daylight next year, because reaching 10 years and still having a fan base like this is already insane. So, one thing that primarily pulls me back to Dead by Daylight is the lore. Not the lore of, like, the licensed killers, because, like, they obviously come in a different universe, and they usually pick a pinpoint of, like, the licensing in the thing, like Springtrap right after he's dead, or Bubba when he is, the final part of the movie. And usually the perks come along with it, usually fit with the killer, like, that they bring in, or the powers. And none of the killers are necessarily the same. There's usually some difference to him, like how Michael Myers he used to have a terror radius of 8 meters in Tier 2, and, it was, at the time, the stealthiest, but then there's Ghostface. But then Ghostface can only stalk one person at a time, and people can break him out of stock while looking at him. Like Behavior knows what to do, and they usually keep the powers differently. And then the original killers and survivors, they have their own lore. I swear Behavior has their own creative writing group that they could literally make their own TV show on original killers itself. I've been talking about this on stream for a while, where they should be making a show. The concept being that either the beginning or the end of the show is the trials, and that the entire episode is, like, the stories of, like, the original survivors or the original killers, or both, because some of the chapters brought to both characters in the same time, and they're interconnected one way or another. So, Behavior, if you hear this and you end up making a show and it's really good, I kind of want royalties. Just saying. Insert joke, Mel. And so this is kind of one of the reasons that I love going back to Dead by Daylight, is because I love seeing how they how they bring in licensed and non-licensed killers into the realm, and it feels natural. The collaborations they do don't feel like super weird and gimmicky cash grabs. It feels like it belongs in the realm, or if it doesn't, they have a story that explains it perfectly well. So at the end of the day, it perfectly assembles of what the entity's realm is supposed to be: an inescapable hell for the survivors, and a paradise for most of the killers. Most of them are there against their will. So what is it about the gameplay that makes it unique? The survivors are about the same. There's not really anything difference between the survivor other than, like, the perks they come with, but they're teachable, so you can apply any perk to any survivor. So there's really no uniqueness to the survivors other than your own ambition to play however you want. Obviously, there's going to be some sweats. There's a whole different community, so you either fall in with the really sweaty survivors or the really scared survivors. And then the killers have their own unique powers and stuff, so that is usually how the trials of each game spice it up. Is that 1 minute you could be going against a Wraith going invisible, 1 minute you can be going against a scratched Myers, jump scaring the fuck out of you, 1 minute you can be going against an Oni being ruthless against you, or you could be going against the top tier nurse, Blinking Around, or Blight, which are probably the two strongest killers that have a really high skill ceiling. But at the end of the day, what makes Dead by Daylight's trials unique compared to the last game is personality, because you can get some really boring games where somebody could have had a bad match, so they literally deploy the most boring tactics ever to secure a 4K, or you can verse against a really fun killer that, wants to fuck around and play around. What makes each trial different is the fact that it's based on interactability between survivors and killers, and obviously there's the corner where they are, like, toxic. There's really toxic survivors, and there's really toxic killers. Nobody's safe. And that's what I love about this game. Gameplay is about 7 out of 10. Sometimes you get some of the same matches because, some killers are preferred over others. Lore for original killers, they implemented so well. So collaborations are a 10 out of 10. They've honestly picked some fantastic 10 out of 10 collaborations. Springtrap and The Walking Dead are my two favorite so far. And non-licensed killers, so originality, is a 10 out of 10. Behavior knows how to keep it original. And the thing is, they pull originality from any timeline. The entity is like a little pocket dimension, and the killers and survivors they pull from come from any time period. So they have like max freedom when it comes to creativity. But that's really about it for today. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. Make sure to follow me on Twitch so that you know when I go live next. Join the Discord so that you can enter yourself in the sweater contest to earn yourself a weeks-long shout-out from me. Or if you want to come in and discuss about Dead by Daylight lore, what you love, what you hate about it, I'm free to discuss. But that's about it. Peace, Kingdom.